Another week, boys, and another TWAB. This week at Bungie, Season of the Worthy is ready for departure. Before we talk about anything else, we'd like to maintain your focus on events unfolding around the world. You may have seen demonstrations in your own town, or like many of us here, down the street from the place you call home. That's right, guys. Black Lives Matter movement is in full flex this week. A lot of links here to contribute. I know a lot of stuff has been held off this past month. Gaming-related things, Sony events, but for the sake of our humanity, these things need to be addressed and need to be addressed now. Now, Bungie continues, support does not end with a single statement or action. We'll continue to use our games and our shared voice to make the world a better place. We hope you'll join in supporting these efforts by visiting the following resources noted above and more by getting directly involved. Also, this week also kicks off Pride Month, which means the Pride pin is back for those that want to get it. Gotta say, looks pretty sexy. You know what I mean? I'm not big on pins. I wish I was, because every time we ever go to like Guardian kind of stuff, they have pins there for people to collect, and I just never got around to collecting them. Maybe I just need to start though. Maybe I just need to grab one pin, and before I know it, I've got a collection going. Now, if you happen to snag a pin, you also gain access to the True Colors emblem to show your support in-game while playing Destiny 2. Really great stuff. Now, moving on. With Destiny 2, you may have been watching the approach of the Almighty. You're itching to see the conclusion of the season, but you're also starting to hear a whisper of what's coming next. Join us on Tuesday, June the 9th at 9 a.m. Pacific to learn about the future of Destiny 2. That's right, guys. We saw the trailers the other day. If you haven't seen them, down below will be some links to those videos where we broke some stuff down. Not gonna lie to you guys, there wasn't much to break down. I mean, they're just small little teasers. We will be streaming the reveal here on YouTube, catching some live reactions as it's going on. Should be pretty nasty. Now, let's talk Sandbox. Preview 2.9.0 will become available next week. I mean, we have a pile of patch notes to get through. Let's take a quick moment to look through some of the changes. So first up, Eververse. A few TWABs back, we talked about the future of Eververse, and we're making changes to some reward structures to better balance gameplay rewards with Eververse content. Season of the Redacted will contain a few introductory changes, with more shifts coming in Season 12. The following changes will become available next week. Legendary armor ornaments. As noted in the previous TWAB, we have shifted the Season 11 armor offering to be a gameplay reward for aspirational content. Excellent, fellas. Meaning, we'll be able to earn them by playing the game, which is important. The Season of Opulence, Intrepid, am I saying that right? Ornament sets are returning to the storefront. Okay, cool. Season Pass, adding an additional 2,300 Bright Dust to the Season Pass. Bright Dust purchases, added a flare section to feature shaders and spawn FX. I like it. Highly requested items from previous seasons will once again be available. We're looking for you, Wishes of Sorrow. That's actually the Thorn Ornament, and it might be the sexiest Thorn Ornament out of all of them. I really like the red one. It's one of my favorite ones, but I think Wishes of Sorrow is the sexiest. Now, Bungie continues. We will once again communicate Season 11 silver-only items at the beginning of the season. We're expecting to have an update later in Season 11 on further changes to Bright Dust acquisition, so keep your eyes peeled. Okay, so they're still going to have silver-related purchases, obviously, but will be updated later in the season, most notably before Season 12, which will be the big expansion. Now, moving on to Sandbox. The Powerful Friends armor mod will no longer stack. Wait, what? If multiple copies of this mod are equipped, the mods will provide no bonus stats. So from the developers, only Solar seasonal mods are intended to stack. No Part of Arc mods are intended to have stacking functionality. Powerful Friends granted plus 20 to mobility, which players could leverage to get 3 stat columns to the max of 100 points. The mod is not priced sufficiently to justify its benefits, and increasing its costs would have adverse effects on its primary benefit usage. Season 11 introduced a new Arc mod, granting similar stat bonus to strength, and also will not stack. Well, hot damn it, fellas. I guess it was bound to happen, but by God, was it not beautiful to have 103 or more stats all at once? We even made a video on it way back when talking about it, where you can get 100 in both mobility, resilience, and recovery depending on your roles, which is pretty insane. I get it, but kind of hard to pull off. The only thing that I felt was wrong with the mod was that the mod would actually activate that plus 20 mobility, even when you didn't have an arc mod activated with it for all the armor pieces. Like, to me, it would have been more balanced had it required you to activate an arc mod piece for each mod slot together. But either way, guys, Powerful Friends is getting reined in. Enhanced Auto Rifle Loader, Enhanced Fusion Rifle Loader, and Enhanced Bow Loader armor mods now have a chance to drop from Pinnacle mod sources. Alrighty, thank you, Bungie. Raid rewards. The following raid exotics now have increased drop chances. Oh my god, please tell me Terrible's on this list. 1,000 Voices, Anarchy, Always on Time, the Exotic Sparrow in Secret Chest in Scourge of the Pass. Drop chance begins at 10% and increases to a max of 50% over 20 clears. Dude, what the hell? Is Terrible not on here? It's the only raid exotic I'm missing. No lie though, my friend Bombad the Boogeyman just got his 1,000 Voices on his 105th clear. 105 last wish completions. The man finally got it to drop for him. RNG is fickle, man. Trial rewards. Additional masterwork material rewards now drops at 3, 5, and 7 trial wins. Added a Trials weekly bounty, which unlocks trial Ingrams on Saint 14. The bounty rewards will match the Win 3 milestone reward of the week. Okay. Trial tokens distribution has been rebalanced to focus on wins 3, 5, and 7 of a trial passage. This includes repeat passages. Trial tokens are no longer rewarded from match completions. Tokens are now granted specifically through wins and bounties. Passage of Wealth now doubles the bonus trial tokens earned at 3, 5, and 7 wins. Dude, I don't know. It sounds like Bungie is getting even more stingy with rewards and trials, right? I mean, at least from a token perspective. Now, granted, if you're winning, well, hell, man, you got no problems. You get more tokens. But that's not the point. The point is there's a lot of players that can't even get 3 wins. The saving grace to all of this, though, is the Trials weekly bounty, which will probably just require some level of participation. And depending on what the reward is for that week for win 3, you could potentially unlock most of the Trials loot this way. So that's good. Seems like they're trying to pull away from tokens and its participation capabilities and leaning more into the Trials weekly bounties, as well as being more rewarding for players that win. I don't know. I kind of wish the Trials weekly bounty was repeatable. Like, I wish that was just repeatable. Hell, that guy out there right now that's just trying to get the 3 wins but can never get there. Hell, let him repeat that weekly bounty throughout the entire weekend, and he can at least farm for whatever that 3-win weapon is, or armor piece, or whatever. Y'all let me know, though. Maybe I'm just looking at it a little too harshly. I just want the playlist to be more approachable, okay? More rewarding. It's obviously going to be more rewarding for players that go flawless, because we're eventually going to get adept weapons. I don't know if we're going to get them this season, but it is coming. We will be getting adept weapons. I more or less wanted the Trials playlist to be more rewarding for folks that are just trying to dabble in the playlist, right? We'll see how it shakes out, though. Moving on. Mixing a green thumb with a bumper jumper. Oh, hell no. Bungie, what are you doing? So we've heard you like patch note previews. They're short, sweet, and to the point. This topic, though, needs a bit more time to get through. Today's staff designer, Lisa Brown, takes center stage to walk us through the upcoming controller remapping feature that the team has been working on. So from Lisa, greetings, Guardians. I'm Lisa, staff designer on the Sandbox team here at Bungie, and I'm going to give an overview of the controller remapping feature for gameplay actions that will be coming to Destiny for all players in Season of the Redacted. Although we have controller presets in Destiny, these aren't enough to meet basic accessibility guidelines for motor control and mobility. We've been working with some amazing accessibility consultants, Cherry Ray Thompson and Ian Helmerton, to create a support for remapping buttons on the controller. Here, I'll give you an overview of how to use the feature and what it can and can't do, and then share some setups that have been used by various Bungie employees as examples. As a quick note, all of the below examples will be shown using Xbox button layouts. I see what Bungie likes to play on. Players can create a custom controller layout by going to the controller section of the settings screen and choosing a button layout. A custom option is available in the list. Oh, that's actually fantastic. On this screen, you'll be able to customize mappings for gameplay actions on your character, in vehicles, and in general settings like emotes and interacting with prompts. Oh, if you're like me and you typically use a preset other than default, you can use the reset button to start from one of these presets. Yeah, there's jumper. Yo, shout out to Lisa. Jumper layout is where it's at. Now to rebind a button, select the button mapping next to the action you want, and the next screen will allow you to input the button you want to remap it to. Aw, yeah. I mean, we're like a few years behind, but I'm glad it's happening. Now, verbs, verbs, and verbs. One of the challenges with controller remapping in Destiny is that we have a lot of player verbs. Think of verb as actions: throwing grenades, triggering your super, jumping, sprinting, sliding, etc. With PC remapping, there's a whole keyboard at your disposal to map buttons. On the controller, though, there's only so many buttons, and we have many more verbs than buttons. To solve this, we allow the player to map an action not just to a button, but also a type of input. Our 3 supported input types are press, which is a standard button press, for example, crouching on the default layout. Long press requires holding down the button for a brief period of time to initiate the action, for example, casting a barricade or a rift as a Titan or Warlock. Double press, pressing a button twice in succession to initiate an action, for example, dodging for hunters, right? Okay. As an example, some of our exotic weapons, Borealis, Symmetry, Hardlight, have an alternate weapon action, which has typically been activated by holding the reload button. Now, this can be mapped separately to a different button or a different input. For example, I like to change it from a long press X to a double press X. Now, when I want to switch Symmetry's firing mode, I double press the X. Oh, instead of holding it. Holy hell, that's actually big. For the double press input time, you can also increase the amount of time between button presses for it to register as a double press. This option is on the main controller page. No freaking way. Okay, hold on. We see it right here. 167 milliseconds is the default, and then it increases after that. Having this double press delay will keep it from activating. Okay, I gotcha. That way you're not like in mid gunfight, you're just trying to reload and you accidentally double press. Shabam. Yo, this is actually legit, fellas. Like, I know a lot of games have button mappings, but this takes it to another level. Now, chord support. In addition to mapping actions to an individual button, we also support mapping to chords, meaning 2 buttons pressed simultaneously. What? In the default layout in Destiny, pressing the left and right bumpers together execute your supers is an example of a chord. Here's a custom layout example where a player has mapped some of the basic character options to justify the face button using chords. Fire is at X, toggle zoom press Y, reload press A and X, alternate weapon action long press A and X, melee B and Y, grenades double press B, super press A and B, jump press A. By the way, I would not recommend using these chords for any of these, but obviously there is some benefits in other places. Just know that things can be mapped to 2 button presses versus 1. And matter of fact, I play jumper all the time on controller. My super is on X, which I know sounds weird, but I actually like it. I'm not fumbling for 2 buttons when I need a panic super, and I like to panic super a bunch. Now, constraints and caveats. Although this feature is a step towards greater motor accessibility in Destiny, it is still limited in what it can do. For example, the controller remapping feature is limited to gameplay actions, not UI input or menu navigation. One motor accessibility challenge are inputs that require the player to hold down a button. We have options to switch between holds and toggles for some of our actions, so for zoom, sprint, and crouch, but we were not able to address all cases. For example, weapon firing, class jump ability, charging grenades, drawing a bow, etc. Well, we don't even have that on PC, right? Like, I can't toggle charging grenades. You just have to hold the grenade button. Boy, wouldn't that be broken though? It wouldn't be broken, just be dope. Or you can just learn how to use macros, which I don't know how to do. Like, I know people do it. I wish I knew how to do it. It would help me so much, but you can essentially do a lot of this with macros. Bungie continues though. We opted for flexibility in allowing players to map any action to any button and input combination. But that flexibility means there are some combinations that may give unexpected results for the player. Example, if you map melee to press X and some other action to long press X, the melee action resolves before the duration to detect a long press. So the player would always melee and never do the other action. I see where you're coming from. Yeah, okay, I do know a little bit about macros, but only from like an RPG standpoint. Final Fantasy, of course, is where I have all of my macro knowledge in. But the way like macros would work was based on the line that the macro was set in. So if you had a long press and then you had a short press, the long press line had to go above the short press. You see where I'm coming from? That way, when you hold down the long press, that would be the initial registration. But when you short press, it would bypass the first command macro line that you have and go straight into the second. I don't believe we're ever going to get on that level. I mean, essentially, they would just have to have an in-game macro base, which I don't know if Bungie wants to have, you know? Set up a macro to just melee your way through a strike and press the W key. Holy holy hell. Now, there is no individualized error verification for these cases. This update was focused on controller remapping, so there are some mappable options that appear here that are not yet available for keyboard remapping. For example, individual mappings for different class abilities, and some Warlock abilities like Phoenix Dive or Icarus Dash. Our chord support is for simultaneous press of 2 buttons only. It does not detect if you press one button, hold it down, and then press another. Unlike our presets, there's no dynamic controller preview image for the custom layout. Really? So actually, the controller preview image doesn't change with the custom layout? Okay, that's gonna be kind of trippy. Surely it will, because people need to visually see it, in my opinion. Like, that's really important. You wanna start getting hella confused? Start rebonding things without knowing where the hell it's actually being rebonded to. I think all of this is good, but let's bring up the real question. Can I separate my hunter knife and my hunter melee? Huh? That's like the biggest one. That's the one that's bothering me the most, okay? I want to be able to throw my knife even when the guy is right there in front of me, instead of melees locking on and I just get shotgunned in the face. That's a big one to me. Maybe they did include it in this and I just missed it, but separating those things would be a major improvement. And I don't even play hunter. I'm just trying to help my gunslingers out there, all right? Now, Bungie wanted to give us some examples of their custom mappings. Lisa says, I'm typically a jumper player, but I also have a problem with melee on my right stick press. Even though it is faster input for my hands to reach, I'm a stress clicker, and many a perfect shot lineup has been ruined by a wayward melee. I need to move my melee action to something more intentional, so I put it on A and move super back up to double bumper chord. I put player highlight back on right stick press, but made my finisher double press A. Also made my alternate weapon action double press X instead of long press, because I prefer that input. Lisa, that's like one of the biggest pros to using jumper, right? Is having melee on R3. Listen, I know it may mess you up sometimes, but I urge you to go back. Adhere to the jumper way. But that is a good example. Another example is from a left-handed player who typically uses mirror, but wanted a true left-handed experience, and so swapped the function with the facepad buttons with the D-pad buttons. Wow, that's actually pretty dope. Actions like reload, jump, crouch, etc. were now on the D-pad buttons, while emotes were mapped to the face buttons. Matter of fact, I think if you have the Astro C40 controller, you can swap these yourself, like manually. Correct me if I'm wrong, guys, but I believe you can. I've got one. I mean, I normally use mine, but I'm not left-handed, so I haven't even tried it. We'll have to try it. A third Bungie employee really wanted to recreate classic Halo experience in Destiny. He started with the default layout, switched zoom to toggle on right stick, grenade on left trigger, melee on B, and crouch on left stick press. Yo, that man is a straight G! He then mapped super to A, jump on left bumper, and class ability on right bumper. He also chose to leave heavy attack, light attack, and guard actions only using third-person modes like roaming supers, mapped to their original right trigger, right bumper, and left trigger mappings. I like it, man. Although I will say, I've gone back and played old school Halo. Zooming in with R3, oh, right? How did we used to do it, man? We used to do it all the time. We hope this feature will make Destiny more accessible and flexible. But do note that this is but one step on Destiny's journey to improve accessibility across the game. We're excited to bring another form of accessibility to Destiny 2, and we'll be watching as their first iteration goes live, aka next-gen consoles, baby. I really think that's what they're trying to say here. This is going to essentially shield them. Not that I think controllers are going to change much from this generation to the next, but just in case they do, you can already remap everything. You're good, man. Now, before we end today's TWAB, again, the season is closing out. June the 9th is when the new season is kicking off, so if you haven't done all these things right here, might want to get on it. If you don't want to do them, don't do them. I'm not saying you should do them. Fourth Horseman, Fail Winner's Life, you don't want those weapons, hey man, you don't have to get them. Yeah, they're dope, but you don't have to get them, but I would really advise to get them. Outside of that, we also have some upcoming resolved issues. Polaris Land's perfect fifth explosive shot, it's no longer being canceled by a subsequent shot. Doom Marcher's linear actuator perk will now work after triggering on yellow bar enemies. Players on Steam will no longer have their FPS locked to 30 FPS when relaunching the game. Thank Jesus. Offline players and clans will no longer have their names set to offline. Warlock's Celestial Fire melee ability will now trigger with Winter's Guile. Hell yeah, fellas. So guys, that is your TWAB. Now, we are doing a giveaway for the next season. For those that didn't buy the season pass or haven't bought next season, we're giving away 15 copies or season pass access. I don't even know what we call it. We don't even have a name for the season, so I'm just going to call it Season of Redacted Giveaway. But down below in the description will be a link. You simply just have to be a part of our Discord to get in on that link. And I'm hoping to wrap up that raffle this coming up Sunday, and I'll contact winners through Discord. And by the way, our Discord is absolutely amazing. Got a lot of great people in there, a lot of active people in both PvE and PvP, so feel free to come by, guys. Well, fellas and ladies, thank you all for coming and watching, and as always,
slap that like button like your mama told you right.